iDrum, I'm Alex Reeves and welcome to my studio, The Drum Fortress. In this second lesson, I'm going to show you how to get a great drum sound using only 4 microphones. For you, that could mean getting your kit recorded effectively without spending too much cash. I'm going to use a track which requires an old sounding drum kit. We're going to have lots of boom, lots of room, lots of crunch and a great deal of swagger. I'll be playing a track by composer Randall Brenneman on behalf of the massive song library company Audio Network. The track is called Cherry Red Kiss. First though, let's hear what you're aiming for. Okay, so I'm just going to explain a little bit to you about how I got the sound that you just heard. I'm actually using the same kit as before, as earlier on, the Sonar SQ2, but I've changed a couple of things. First thing I changed was the snare drum. I've actually got a junkyard type something, I'm not really sure what it is. Again, I bought this from a junk shop for not much money. It's a kind of orphan snare drum that's got a shell from one thing, a head from another, a die-cast hoop from something else, a snare strainer from something else. I've no idea what it is, but it sounds just right for this kind of junkyard sound that I'm after. Secondly, I've got a big set of crashes for the hi-hats. Instead of using small hi-hats, I wanted something trashy sounding. So I've used a 16-inch Sabian crash for the top, and I've got a broken 17-inch crash on the bottom of this. On top of that, I've also got a tambourine that I kind of made, which sounds rustic and nasty, exactly like I want it to. I've also got a broken cymbal here to give a kind of trashy sound. And then, as you saw before in the last lesson, I'm using the Artisan Ride and the HHX crash cymbal to kind of glue it all together. The bass drum, I've got a big woofer essentially on the side of it. It adds a kind of big, huge, boomy sound to the bass drum. And as in this lesson, I'm only playing the bass drum generally on beat 1, and that's it. It sounds exactly like it needs to sound, long, boomy, and roomy. Okay, so the mics that I'm using, this is hopefully what you can start with when you're miking up your kit in your room. I'm using only 4 microphones. I'm using what's called the Glyn Johns technique. Glyn Johns was an engineer predominantly around in the 1960s who engineered all sorts of great bands, including The Who, Stevie Winwood, Eric Clapton, the Rolling Stones, all sorts of others. He pioneered a mic technique which uses 2 overheads and 2 close mics. The overheads, to start with, is one right above the snare drum. So we're looking at, well, the standard one is 2.5 sticks or so above the snare drum. In this case, it's 40 inches. I'm using a 414, which is a large diaphragm condenser, which picks up the kit in a really nice way. The second overhead is this way. I'm using this relatively cheap ribbon mic here. It sounds great. It is about a foot or so above the floor tom, pointing at the hi-hat. It's the same distance away from the center of the snare drum as the microphone above it. So I've measured it as being 40 inches from the center of the snare drum, in the same way that this is 40 inches from the center of the snare drum. Then we've got 2 close microphones, one on the snare drum, one on the bass drum. On the snare drum, I have an SM57, and on the bass drum, I'm using the D112, the AKG D112, just sitting outside of the bass drum woofer. Now I'm going to play the drums and explain to you the processes that I used inside the computer to get the sound that I got.
Remember that the key to getting a good sound is playing the drums well, tuning them in a way that suits the music, and putting the mics in the right places. First, the bass drum. Here, all I'm doing is changing the EQ slightly. I've added a little low end, cut a little bit out of the middle, and boosted at 3.5K to add a little click. For the snare, again, all I've changed is the EQ, removing some of the less desirable middle frequencies. Here I'm after more definition, so I've taken out the muddy, boxy sounds at about 200 and 500 Hz. Also, you can get a really nasty, honky middle sound at about 1K when you close mic a snare drum, so I've removed a bit of that too. There are no close mics on the toms, so I'm getting all the sound from the two overheads. I've removed some of the middly sounds to clear room for the rest of the music. Let's hear it with the snare. To bring out the definition in the cymbals, I've lifted the higher frequencies of both overheads. Also, I've added compression to both overheads to bring out the quieter notes on the kit and bring a little more of the room sound. All four mics are routed to a stereo bus, to which I've added a little more EQ and some light reverb. Let's hear it all together.
She had a little black dress and high heel shoes. Her lips were cherry red. The band was swinging, the gringos were grinning. She got inside my head. She was a sweet senorita, sipping on a margarita. Had me in the palm of her hands. I knew she was trouble, so I ordered a double. She wanted to dance. I don't remember much, but I knew it was bliss. All she left on my lips was a cherry red kiss. I never saw her again, but I always miss that taste on my lips from a cherry red kiss. I've been asking around from town to town, the east coast to the west. No one has seen her, my sweet bonita. I'm walking like a man possessed. I thought I had seen her like a ghost in the mirror. Is she real or just a dream? It's too hot to swallow. See the lipstick on my collar. Nothing is what it seems. I don't remember much, but I knew it was bliss. All she left on my lips was a cherry red kiss. I never saw her again, but I always miss that taste on my lips from a cherry red kiss. I got a letter through the other day. What did it say? It said, meet me at midnight underneath the moonlight. And she sealed it. I don't remember much, but I knew it was bliss. All she left on my lips was a cherry red kiss. I never saw her again, but I always miss that taste on my lips from a cherry red kiss. Red kiss.
Well, iDrum, thanks for watching. In the next lesson, we'll be looking at recording songs with a few more mics. Any questions, please contact me via my website or on Twitter @AlexReevesDrums. Bye for now.